Hello and welcome to Gear Gyan with me, Sahil Jagtiani, where we talk about all things related to the Indian guitar gear scene. And today is a special episode. This is one of my most sentimental guitars, okay? I think this and my YT Strat are the two guitars that are always going to be in my collection. This has a very, very special story behind it, okay? And after I received it, there was an incident involving one of the luthiers of Bengaluru who thought he was an excellent luthier and went on to almost ruin my instrument. But thankfully, I found someone who saved it, who repaired it perfectly, and now it's just phenomenal, okay? So before we get into all of that, make sure you click that subscribe button and ring that bell to stay up to date with all our latest videos. So when I got married in 2008, I'd been with the organization called The Art of Living, founded by Poojya Gurudev Shri Ravi Shankarji. He's a humanitarian, he's a spiritual leader, he's an all-around amazing human being. He's changed my life, changed millions of people's lives around the world. He's been involved in mediation work across the world, in Colombia, in Iraq, and all over India, of course, Naxalite problems, in the Northeast. He sorted out a lot of things over there as well. And of course, for the Ram temple, when there was so many misunderstandings happening, he's the one who got, the dialogue going. He's the one who solved, most of the problems between both the parties. So, I mean, he's basically like my hero, to be honest with you. He's the guy that I, was most inspired by, and I gave up an opportunity in England to basically come back and to serve, the organization and become a full-time teacher and travel across India. And, it was a magical time for me. So I was a full-time teacher, and I had been with the organization since 1998. About 10 years I'd been, traveling across India and doing satsangs and doing concerts and teaching people. I must have taught about at least 10,000 plus youth, across India. In those days, it was a big number. Nowadays it's not so, big, because many courses happening across. But as my marriage gift, he asked me, "What do you want?" I said, "Guruji, what am I going to say? Guitar, And I just thought, I'm not going to get him. Probably get me some Fender or something like that. Maybe a MIM if I'm lucky." And he said, "Which guitar?" I said, "Guruji," then I thought to myself, what guitar have I always loved as a kid? I never played this guitar as a kid. I used to always play Fenders and Strats, and I never got a chance to play an original Les Paul. So I was like, Les Paul. Les Paul, Guruji, Les Paul. And that was it. I didn't hear back. I got married. He met me in the marriage and blessed us, and it was fabulous. It was an eye-opening experience. Incredible, okay? And he took care of so many things for us during my marriage time. It was amazing. Anyway, few months later, he calls me to his kuti. He says, "Sahil, come." I went over there. He says, "I've got something for you." And then he pulls this out. He says, "This is for you." Oh my God. This is a Les Paul. This is a Les Paul Standard 2008. Chambered body, I think. So I was like, man, that's amazing. I'm in love, and I played it, and I've recorded a few albums with this. I used to go for my youth rock concerts, and I would basically play this over there, spiritual shows, but for the youth, and very uplifting music. There are a lot of stuff with this. And when it came down to perfecting it, I'd heard that there's this guy in Bangalore, and he's this was, I think, in 2013, that he does repairs on guitars, and most of the top guitarists in Bengaluru basically go to this guy, and he says that I have Stu Mac tools, man, I'm really good and all. So he took the guitar, and I was like a little bit apprehensive of leaving my baby over there. Okay, I mean, you can see I haven't even put the pick guard on. I love it. I love this look. I would probably not want a pick guard on a Les Paul. Some people will be like, "No, that's sacrilege. Put the pick guard on." No, I like it. Cool. It's never been installed. It's beautiful. And he took the guitar, and I trusted him. And he's like, the first thing he looked at the guitar was the nuts, the cheap nut, man. It's the nylon nut, and it was working fine, the nut. There was no problem with it. I was just like, can you just have a look at it and see if it, can be set up better. He says, your problems with your nut. Now that time I had almost no knowledge about guitar accessories, anything related to the guitar. I was just like, just play a few cowboy chords, play a few scales, and that's it. That was my knowledge of guitars, let alone guitar, woodworking or guitar tech stuff. So he was like, I'm going to replace your nut. I'm like, okay. And what he did was he screwed up the nut height, and he says, I'm going to have to put a shim, man, underneath. He says, okay. I'm like, okay, you're the one who knows best. So he went and put a small wooden shim underneath the nut, and then he put the nut on top of that, and then he found that the nut was too high, so then he had to cut longer grooves in. And it was really weird, because every time I'd go to play the E string, for some reason the string would keep coming off the frets. Then I realized that, man, something's off. That's not it. Icing on the cake was the nut was badly slotted and was pushing against this headstock veneer, and after about a few months the veneer started to slowly rise up, and I'm like, damn, what has he done? And I just didn't have the strength to cut the nut, to cut the shim underneath and try and glue down the veneer. I was just so scared. I'm like, if I do something and I break it, that's it, man. My heart will not go on, thing. Because this is a sentimental instrument to me, So I'm like, who do I take it to? Who can do it for me in India, And everyone's like, oh, there are only a few guys. Take it to some guy here in Bangalore. Take it to some guy in Delhi. And I was like, nah, man, I got to take it to the best guy. So fast forward to 2023, after planning a pre-COVID trip, which never happened, okay? And COVID happened. And then after that, life happened. And now I got an opportunity to take this guitar to Bombay. And I did. And I went to Meera Road. I handed it over to Sunil Shende. Now, if you don't know Sunil Shende is a brilliant guitar tech, okay? He's also a luthier, but I won't know how good he is as a luthier because I've never, built a guitar with him. So I don't want to, I've seen enough people in India claiming they're luthiers, claiming they're guitar techs, and I have Stu Mac tools, like that guy basically ruined my instrument. I'm not putting his name out there because this is something that I've seen that a lot of people do. And I don't want to bitch about him because I'm sure he could get better after this, and I'm sure he's probably is a lot better than what he was, 10 years back. But still, I took it to Sunil, and Sunil obviously uses Stu Mac tools because he's a smart guy. But he was like, don't worry, just leave it here. And I'm like, okay, I want to change out this jack plate and this jack as well. He's like, yeah, okay, no worry, just leave it. And I'm like, okay. And then I realized, of course, that he's done work for so many guitarists. Foremost for Ehsan Noorani. That's where I heard about Sunil from, because Ehsan has one of the largest collection of guitars in India. So I'm sure he wouldn't trust some of those babies with any old person. So when I went to Sunil Shende's workshop, I saw Ehsan Noorani's Tom Anderson Strat, and I was like, wow, that's amazing, man. That's amazing. And he told me that he sends across his guitars for maintenance and all. And I was still apprehensive because I've been through enough people talking big but not delivering. He was like, don't worry, leave it here. Very good guy. I put the guitar in the case. I put another guitar, which if you haven't seen that episode, the one where we talk about the Jaguar mod, go and check it out, it's up there. And that's been delayed because I couldn't find anyone in Bangalore or in India who was willing to remove the thimbles. And everyone who gave me advice about removing the thimbles, their advice just didn't work, okay? So I just took it to him and I said, do this also. And I'm getting that guitar. I'm going to do a separate episode on that as well, okay? But the only time I think this guitar has ever been showcased to you was when we did the more Paul or more SG Les Paul. I don't remember what the name is. It's up there. Go check it out. Yeah, so that was the only time I've actually showcased it. And after that, I was really heartbroken when the veneer on the headstock came off. So I wasn't really wanting to do a full review until it was perfect. And now it's perfect. This guy removed the nut, removed the shim, did a nice amount of glue work on it, beautiful job on the veneers sticking back to the headstock. He put my Graphtec nut in, okay, the one I gave him. I bought a Graphtec nut and it fits marvelously well, perfectly well. He's done a fantastic touch-up job, and I mean, it's like 5,000 something rupees. Nobody in America is going to be able to give you this kind of a price, okay? He's, however, one of the most expensive guitar techs in India, but he is worth every penny, okay? You have an expensive guitar, do not trust every Tom, Dick and Harry who says they're a guitar tech, okay? Trust me, go to the best guys. You may have a good experience with one or two people, but when it comes down to a 2 lakh and above instrument, please go to the right guy, okay? Spend money, take care of your instrument. I'm just blown away by the work this man has done. I'm so happy. I'm just so happy that finally my baby is ready. She's rocking and rolling, and I'm going to do a separate episode just on this guitar, showcasing how beautiful it sounds. You can literally make this Marshall roar, okay? It's that good. These are passive pickups. They're the original pickups. I haven't modded it. Me not modding a guitar, I mean, but I haven't touched it because I love it. I love it the way it is. I even ordered a new Gibson output jack plate, and I have the original one. And I replaced the Switchcraft jack because it's been like a long time with this guitar, okay? It's been like 14, 15 years, so I want to replace the output jack. I've kept the original jack plate and the output jack because it's a sentimental guitar. So I wanted everything that was with it originally to be with me, and it will be with me. The tuners are still responsive, super responsive. I mean, the quality on this instrument is fantastic. Yes, it does have its flaws. The G string does go out of tune, but that's with every single Les Paul in the world. I have got a episode coming up where there's an instrument you can put over here, not a string butler, something else, and basically it prevents the G string from going out of tune. We're going to test that out, but I'm so happy to have it back. Mr. Sunil Shende, you are a genius, all right? Your work is impeccable. You're a very humble man. He does his work quietly. He doesn't do much talking about it. I'm going to build a guitar with him for sure, without a doubt, okay? That's how impressed I am with his quality, okay? If you're in Bombay and you have an expensive instrument or even a mid-range instrument, just go to him, give him your guitar. He's going to set it up perfectly. His shop sells strings. I can't recommend him highly enough. He's basically saved my instrument. So all I've got to say to wrap this up is thank you, Sunil Shende, for bringing my baby back to life, bringing it back in a perfect shape. I'm just so happy with it, and yeah, that's it. Just go to him and get your guitars back into their prime.